Riot Games has been quite busy lately as they have featured a handful of titles that many have their eyes on. Legends of Runeterra has made quite the splash in the digital card game genre, and there's so much buzz for the upcoming League of Legends Wild Rift. For today's video, we'll be looking at the game that has earned the curiosity of FPS players all around the world. Yes, we're talking about Valorant. With the game having launched today to the public, you may be considering to give it a try, as you should. Well, if that's the case, and you find yourself not having that great an idea of what you're getting into, we've put together this video especially for you, to get you up to speed and hopefully ease you in better into the game. My name is Rob from Ungeek, and here are 5 things you need to know before playing Valorant. Number 1, it's somewhere between CSGO and Overwatch. If you've given at least one look at Valorant, you won't be faulted if you find yourself comparing it to Counter-Strike Global Offensive or to Overwatch. After all, there are quite a bit of similarities between Valorant and the two games, and comparing it to both might help you paint a picture of what's in store for you up ahead. But allow me the opportunity to give you a better description of what Valorant is. Valorant is a 5v5 tactical competitive first-person shooting game. Players will be divided into 2 teams, with one team starting off as the attackers and the other as defenders. A team wins if they successfully eliminate the other team. Alternatively, attackers can also win if they plant the bomb, aka the spike, at very specific areas of the map and have it successfully detonate. The defenders, on the other hand, can win if they successfully defuse a planted spike. At the beginning of each round, you can buy weapons and armor using the money you earn after each round or by securing kills. So far, so very much a la CSGO. On the other hand, much like Overwatch, each player is made to select a named character, aka agent, to play as. Each character will have a total of 4 skills that you will have access to. 3 regular skills and 1 ultimate skill that you will need to charge up fully throughout combat before you can use it. But of course, this begs the question, is Valorant just a Frankenstein's monster made up of CSGO and Overwatch parts? To that, I say no. Valorant makes its own space and identity by adding some additional nuances. While you do play as a character, not all skills are available to you. You have one that you'll always have every round and a chargeable ultimate. However, 2 of your skills have to be purchased per round alongside your guns and armor. You'll also only have a set amount of times that you can use each skill per round. What's the end result? You have a technical FPS game, and when I say technical, I mean that jumping around while shooting doesn't work. Trust me, I tried. Where roles between teammates are a bit more defined than usual, and where character skills are designed to complement gunplay, not overpower it. Sorry, Genji mains. Number 2, Valorant is designed to focus on gameplay. Look, I'll level with you and be the first to admit initially, I had questions regarding Valorant's design. My last FPS high was with Overwatch, and I absolutely loved the colorful visuals that the game had to offer, and I was sold on Blizzard's menu, which served me a fine dose of FPS adrenaline that seemed to be best paired with a visual feast. In addition to that, there was Apex Legends, which, while I didn't get to play it, looked visually stunning as well. So given that, imagine the reaction I had when I saw the rather muted level designs of Valorant. I mean, sure, the game has colorful characters, but everything else looked rather tame in my eyes. So the first question I had was, why? Turns out this was all by design. Remember how I told you that Valorant is a technical FPS game? Well, this is exactly what they wanted to focus on. Not only did having muted visuals make characters pop against backgrounds to ensure that skillful shootouts were to be had and that nobody would be hiding in plain sight, it also assured that the game would easily deliver solid frames. Riot Games even told us that with Valorant, you'd be able to get 60 FPS even on a low-end machine, making this game more accessible to players. What about the graphical appeal issues that I mentioned at the start? Well, all that disappeared as I got more and more into the game. And the more I played it, the more I remembered the fun I had playing Counter-Strike back in the day, and how the fun I got was more with competition rather than visuals. Number 3, you will most likely die a lot as you start. Yes, I know there are those among you who are just naturals at the FPS genre, but it's saying something when Riot Games themselves tell you that Valorant takes a bit to master. I consider myself as a player of average skill when it comes to FPS, but during our playthrough session with other media and streamers, I got the holy S word beaten out of me again, and again, and again, and well, you get the point. It did seem, however, that people who were quite used to CSGO and the like had an easier time adapting to the game. And while I did spend a lot of time face down on the floor during my earlier games, it did get better the more I played. I even got so good, on my last game I managed to score almost a 1:1 KDR. Almost. It's not much, but I'll definitely take it. Now you may say that, well, it's CSGO all over again, isn't it? Where the best shooter wins. Well, kind of, but not exactly. Valorant may be technical, but it's not really like CSGO, where aim and reflexes are king. Because of Valorant's gameplay, there are various areas of mastery that you can excel in to fuel your experience. So while you might not be the most accurate or the quickest gun in the arena, you can still greatly contribute using the skills of your agent and how well you support your teammates, which may lead to a win for your team. Number 4, maps are worth studying. Speaking of ways to get a win for your team, having a great understanding of how a map works can really swing the tides of battle to your favor. According to Riot Games, every map has a strong reason for existence, and that's the guiding principle with how they did their level design. During our gameplay session, we played 2 maps that had very distinct characteristics. One of them was called Bind, which had 2 spike areas, as well as teleporters that could lead you from one part of the map to another. There was another map called Haven that had 3 bomb sites instead of 2, which totally changed up the strategies for both defense and offense. Once you understand the nuances of each map, that now opens you up to strategic takedowns and defenses. Additionally, this also means that each map allows for different approaches depending on your team composition and the style of your opponents. Another thing worth noting about maps is the location of orbs and barriers. Once the round starts, a timer will be counting down for you to buy your gear and for you to set up your defenses, which is an absolute must for heroes that have very defensive skills. While the timer counts down, you'll have free movement anywhere within the barrier, so you can freely set up before the action starts. Orbs, on the other hand, appear on certain areas that are usually highly contested. You can take time to harvest the orb, which gets you a charge for your ultimate ability, but of course, there is that risk that enemies can just pop out and kill you while you're doing so. And number 5, find an agent that matches your playstyle. As we mentioned, agent abilities are a huge factor to how a match is decided, and Valorant has a nice selection of agents that have skill sets to complement your preferred playstyle. This is a very crucial step, as unlike Overwatch, the agent you choose is the one you'll have for the whole match, and there will be no switching in between. This means that you really have to study what your agent does and understand what each skill is for. There are 4 types of agents. You have the controllers, who play as supports. They usually specialize at blocking sightlines, as well as skills that allow your team to get the edge in combat. An example of this is Viper, who is a poison specialist. Not only does she have the ability to create poisonous areas that will eat away at the health of enemies, she also has a poison screen wall that can block line of sight for enemies. This allows you to sneak past and get the drop on your foes. Next up, we have Sentinels, who usually specialize in defensive abilities. These agents allow you to reinforce certain defensive positions and give the advantage to your team. One such agent is Cypher, who can set up a camera on any surface. As Cypher, you can switch your vision to your camera, and as an added bonus, if you catch someone unaware, you can fire a dart at them, which will reveal their position for a certain amount of time. He also has tripwires to ensnare and reveal enemies, as well as cyber cages that can block vision. And then you have his ultimate ability, which allows you to see the location of every enemy on the map if you use it on a dead foe. And then you have the more offensive class called Initiators. These agents specialize in disrupting gunfights to create windows for your team to initiate combat with an advantage. Breach is a good example of this class, as he has abilities that can be shot into walls and activate on the other side to catch your enemies unaware. Some of these abilities feature one that serves as a flashbang and another that deals straight up damage. He also has one that dazes all enemies in a cone, while his ultimate dazes and knocks down anyone caught up in it. And finally, you have Duelists. Duelists are straight up combatants that have skills that allow them to easily secure kills for the team. In our playthrough, I used Jet, who possessed abilities that would let her quickly dash towards a certain direction or allow her to jump up to get a vertical advantage on enemies. Her other skill also creates small balls that disrupt sightlines, which can be used to cover your movements or to create diversions. And then you have her ultimate that replaces your gun with throwing knives that are amazingly accurate and can definitely work well with your movement skills. There are a bunch of agents to choose from, so take your time and see which one works best for you. And that's our list. Will we be seeing you in game now that Valorant has launched? Also, do let us know if you have any other tips for Valorant, and we may just make a commenters edition based on your answers. Thanks again for watching, and until next time everyone, keep on gaming.